Oh, welcome back once again to Dadnarok. This is Sean.
And this is Chris.
And tonight we're talking about episode 5, actually the penultimate episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, first season. Thought there were 7 episodes. I guess there's only going to be 6. The finale's next week.
I'm sorry, guys. We are terrible at this.
I think IMDb lied to us. I swear they said 7 episodes. But anyway, we're Dadnarok. What does that mean? What does that mean to
uh,
you, the viewer?
that means if you like coverage like this and covering shows and hearing a couple, old white guys,
Old.
get things really badly wrong, gold,
Very old and
gray.
very white.
We are a completely open, so if you send a message to us,
Yeah.
we will go ahead and comment while we're live. That could have been taken so many different ways. So I'm glad the way you looked at the camera was kind of funny.
We have an
Um,
open relationship here with our viewers.
we have upside. You don't see the upside down pineapple behind me? No. No, what? That's
There's no
like,
paywall.
subscribe, hit that button. Yeah, there is absolutely no paywall.
There's no OnlyFans.
There's
Only
but there's
dads.
only dads. That's terrible too.
It's derailed. Okay. What are we
Okay,
talking
so
about?
the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, episode 5.
Yes, and you texted now. We have not discussed this
Mm-mm.
episode until we wanted to save it for the show. But you texted me and you were like, I have you said something along the lines of you have a an opinion about this episode that may vary from the norm.
Yeah, I looked online to see if I'm an outlier on this, and I believe I am an outlier, so I'm going to get flogged, and I'm ready for it. This episode as a whole was terribly boring,
Oh,
and
boring.
I could not get into it and could not care about 75% of the episode.
So the backstory.
The backstory, everything about the night that he came from, I didn't care. I didn't care about the girl when she died. I had no emotional like, oh my god, she's dead. It was like, okay, she's dead. Let's move on. The story about being in Flea Bottom, I couldn't care less.
Yeah,
All I really wanted was the Battle of Seven that was taking place, and
right.
even during the Battle of Seven, I had an extremely impossible time suspending my belief that a joust to the stomach, a knife to the eye, a another knife to the thigh, and he's still alive and kicking. Yes, we're in Game of Thrones world. I understand,
Yeah.
but they wanted me to suspend my belief. So far, I had a hard time doing it.
Yeah, I don't feel quite as strongly as you do, but I do understand. I think I understand where you're coming from because my expectation, and I know a little bit about the backstory, but I don't know specifics about these novellas that they put out, right?
Yeah,
So I know that I was thinking that this whole episode would be the battle. Like we would see and have some kind of a clear understanding of what's going on between these 14, knights, these contestants on the
yeah.
field. And I thought it would be laid out to where it would be the battle itself would kind of be like a narrative to see like, oh, well, this guy's against this guy, and now this guy's helping this guy, or like it would be like a slower paced thing. They really just kind of like spend the first couple minutes kind of charging at it and then, starting the dang thing. And then all
Yeah.
of a sudden we flash back to when Dunk's, a teenager or so. And we're not back until maybe the last 5 minutes. There's only maybe a total of 10 minutes of actual battle. And
We
most of
get
the
nothing.
episode
We
is
don't
flashback.
see like Lionel Baratheon, fighting at all when he supposedly is this great knight and has this, great backstory. We don't see any of that. We know
Yeah.
a lot of them survive. We know one big one. They got one pop out of me, and when Balon died
Yeah.
at the end, when he pulled
Right,
off his
right, right.
helmet and he had
His head was
the
caved in.
actual, yeah, that was the one thing that did get me, and I was like, okay, so they got that pop out of me, but the
Yeah.
rest of it was really not anything else.
And a couple of
But
these
real
guys
quick,
I
hey
didn't even
Terry
know.
Pokemon, I appreciate you joining. It looks like you're the only one commenting right now. So
Wait, Terry Pokemon? The one and only? I'm the only one on? For right now, invite all your friends.
yeah. and have them, hit that likes button, subscribe button. We hit 600, guys. We hit 600. That was a
Yes, we
big
did.
milestone for us. So if anyone that hit that button and helped us get there, that was awesome. So that was a highlight of my weekend. So thank you.
I'm trying to look here. Let's see. Sir Duncan Tall, Baylor, Lionel, right? Raymond Fossaway was the Apple guy.
Yes.
And then a couple of Humphreys and Robin Riesling. I
Robert
don't
Riesling
think.
was the knight with one eye. He was the one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had the chainmail kind of over his eye and everything when they were showing him getting ready for battle.
So is the Humphreys that I wasn't really aware of. There was, yeah, that redheaded guy here, right?
Yeah,
And
they really
then
didn't get
these
much
guys.
play. They were just kind of they're almost like they were fillers. Like they were put there to go ahead and fill in uh for the rest of the battle for the seven.
I wonder who survived. See, we don't even get a clear understanding of like who died and who survived. I know Lionel survived. Baylor had his head caved in. Dunk survived. I think these two might have died. And I know he survived.
He
The
survived,
Apple.
yeah.
Isn't that surprising? The rookie.
I thought he was gonna be the first one gone.
I thought so too. I thought that was going to be part of the story of this episode, but no. I mean, I'm glad. I
Yeah.
like the kid. Glad he's still around. But yeah, jury's out on these two Humphrey
I mean,
guys.
I don't
And
think really anyone truly died besides Baylor. They don't give
really,
us any indication that anyone
well,
truly
yeah,
died besides Baylor.
they don't tell us one way or
And
another.
really Aegon should have died. But Dunk showed some mercy at the end when he just kind of drug him over, picked him up, and told him, to drop the charges essentially, and then just dropped him on his face.
Yeah, I'm just curious how this is gonna. Well, first off, I think your criticism is valid. Because even though I enjoyed the episode, even though the episode threw me, as far as it gave me something that I wasn't really expecting, and I was kind of hoping, and especially leading out of the end of the last episode, like
Yeah.
we were geared up. It was like, let's go, and we were prepped. Um, this is probably an example of a good time where you couldn't binge watch it, where there was a week separation, because I can't imagine getting so hyped up from the end of last week's episode for the first time and then rolling right into this one and then having a flashback immediately.
Yeah, I feels like they lost all the momentum
Yeah,
from the
yeah, yeah.
prior two episodes to go into this one here with a flashback. And a flashback, I guess I understand they were trying to show you why Dunk is the way he is and his character was built the way it was.
Yeah,
But in my mind, we're past that. If you didn't
right.
understand that character by this point, just by the way he's been carrying himself, by the way he went ahead and got himself in this mess by punching Aaron, by defending the puppet,
The
the
puppeteer lady, the
yeah,
Muppet.
yeah, and then how he just kind of has taken egg under his wing as well.
Yeah.
If you didn't really understand his character by that point, I don't know. You did. I don't know. I really don't.
I liked the backstory. I think this was an odd choice to put it right smack in the middle of the battle episode. And I think the reason this happened is because this is actually what happens in the book. There's a flashback um, to younger years, so they're really like adapting this novella like pretty straightforward, more so than even the original Game of Thrones show or House of the Dragon.
But
They're
see,
really
that's where
sticking
they
to
need to
it.
vary a little bit. I know it makes people mad, but this is an adaptation. This isn't
Yeah,
a word for word, beat for beat from the novellas. They have
right.
the leeway to go ahead and do a little bit of that, but
Yeah.
they
Well,
they chose
I
not to.
I think you said the right word. I think you said the right word in saying momentum. Because I mean, it's not that I disliked the backstory. I thought the backstory and seeing Flea Bottom and seeing what his life was like back then, it was all like
Mhm.
interesting. But I feel like it was a section of his story that we as an audience would have appreciated more in like episode 2 or 3, as opposed to the penultimate episode right
Yeah.
smack in the middle of this battle. And, it is a choice to basically get the battle from his eyesight, from his perspective,
Yeah,
Dunk's perspective. It's chaos. Like that's how it would feel, right? I mean, you would basically there's all kinds of crap going on around you at all times. It reminded me of like those World War II movies like Saving Private Ryan or something
yeah.
where there's just like chaos around you and you're like, spilling your guts in the mud and stuff. Like I understand that. I understand the choice of filming it that way and telling that story in that way. Um, but it does feel a little hollow. I enjoyed the episode for what it was, but I can see why you would be disappointed if you were expecting to see an episode where this battle was the episode, especially how these episodes are like a half hour,
Mhm.
35 minutes, 40 minutes. You could have had a 35-minute episode, or even it was a shorter runtime, 32-minute episode, where the entire episode was just this battle and
Yeah.
understanding who the people are, understanding like who the players are, who they're against, little moments. Um, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from.
I would have liked to seen the blow that hit Baylor because apparently it came from Makor, his brother. His
Right.
brother's the one that got him and thought it was just enough to knock him off his horse or knock him off his game. And I know that's going to be a big thing going forward. Like he's going
Yeah.
to go through it because he is the one that was responsible for killing his brother, and he didn't really. I mean, obviously didn't want to do that, but with
He's a
doing that,
kinslayer. Yeah.
yeah, and with doing that now, it put him next in. I think he fell next in line for the actual throne with that
Baylor
taking
did, yeah.
place.
So now whoever was third in line is going to be bumped up to second in line.
Yeah, so
Um,
it's got real repercussions.
yeah. Have you actually watched the preview episode for the final episode of you?
I have, yes.
The little teaser trailer thing?
Yes. Oh, I watched the making of it. Even though I didn't like this episode, I did
Yeah.
stick around after the credits, and I watched the making of this one and the teaser for the next one.
Boy, did I call it or what? Like, I don't even know these characters all that well, but when I called Dunk the Rocky Balboa of Westeros, I mean, it
Yeah.
it it looked like he was shooting a Rocky movie from the
It's kind
'80s
of
with
like
the
cut me, Mick.
like cut me Mick,
Cut me
but
egg and
instead
cut me.
it's even like when he was having flashbacks of his former knight, his former master knight or the old dude with the
Yeah.
huge dong. He was like
Back
his
to the
Mickey.
dong.
I was like his Mickey was like,
Mm.
get up, you son of a bitch. Mickey loves you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the Rocky Balboa of Westeros, which you and I are fans of that
That's
franchise.
gonna hit a chord with us. Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
always a winning solution for us.
Um, but not to say, I still enjoy the character. I'm still enjoying the show so far. As if I take, all five of these episodes in my frame of mind, I'm thinking it's a very well done show. But as far as how this episode in particular was constructed, I probably would have done some different things
No,
to keep that momentum going.
momentum. Now, the one thing you did bring up, and I did kind of enjoy, was seeing the battle through his eyes, through
Hmm.
the helmet, the noise just kind of ringing, and him not being us that first person type perspective. I
Yeah,
did think that when it came to a decision to show how it was going to go down, I like that. I loved
yeah.
seeing like Egg up in the actual stands yelling, "Get up" or "Go." He's yelling at the horse because
Hmm.
that harkens back to when he did the training with the horse, and the horse
Right.
was listening to him. So those little things I did like. So there were nuggets within the show that I enjoyed. It was just the whole flashback thing with the girl and everything. And I just really didn't need. But like I said, but it also comes down to the how much of an ass kicking do you really want me to believe that he can take and survive?
That's true too, because at the end of this thing, he looked about dead. And
Mhm.
I mean, he barely had enough energy just to get up. And it was like a Balboa thing where it's just like, you think he's down and out. And, or even, for newer folks, Creed. Creed at the end, he gets up after it seemed like he was knocked out. But which, that's for the dramatics of it, I kind of get. But you're right. I mean, that is, especially in these days where it's like a single cut. It's not
Yeah.
like they're taking antibiotics to fight off infections. Like we've seen like a single cut can like do you in from an infection. So
Yeah.
like these wounds where like you get a lance to the gut and you're like bleeding out. Um, maybe you can believe that Dunk is able to, walk away from this. Well, he wasn't. He was kind of carried out of the arena, but maybe he survives the day. But to be able to survive those wounds afterwards, that's a little like,
Yeah. We have a
these maesters.
question here from say, is it as good as Game of Thrones? Let me see. It's an argument among my friends. I was going to actually bring that up. So my thought is, I don't think this is a bad show. However, it's Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon set the bar up here. I don't
Yeah.
think this has, in my opinion, has achieved that level of success.
My answer would be it's a different show. It takes place in Westeros, but it doesn't have the family machinations and all the like, succession type drama that, those two shows in particular have because they follow the royal families and all the families of Westeros and the power struggles and the meetings across long tables and like battle plans and all this, big heady stuff as far as betrayal and y- you've seen a Game of Thrones, you know what it's
Yeah.
like. This show is not that show. It takes place in Westeros. It's recognizable. This is definitely Westeros as
Mhm.
far as like the debauchery and the people, the citizens. But this has actually somewhat little to do with the royal machinations and more to do with the people, which I appreciate. I think there is
Mhm.
a story worth telling there as far as hanging out with different characters. But it's one thing that I appreciate about this season of this show. But as far as the continuing adventures of Dunk, I mean, he's going to be an actual, not just a hedge knight, but like a knight going forward. So I'm wondering if they're going to introduce more stuff, and if they do, does this show lose its charm a little bit? And if it tries to be too much like the other two Big Brother shows, if it's not going to be quite, because I appreciate the lane that it's sticking in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the show knows what it is, and it's doing a good job at being a simpler story. And I don't want it to stray too far from that.
Oh, I wouldn't even say like I enjoy the smallness of the story. I absolutely 100% agree with you there. I
Yeah,
just think the quality of the storytelling
yeah.
is at a lower level than the other two.
But could season two change that depth can be created? I think so. Well, usually you do because right, we don't have to learn about these characters. We'll
Mhm.
get we'll have a head
Yeah,
start
and
getting
that's what this show
into
is at a
things.
disadvantage of it right now. We're
Right, yeah.
learning these. The other shows outside of Game of Thrones, the original Game of Thrones, we learned as we went. House of the Dragon had the benefit of us knowing who the Targaryens were, knowing the dragons, knowing
Mhm.
all this. So that absolutely benefited. So this was starting almost more over than the original Game of Thrones did. So that I have to acknowledge that at least.
Yeah.
Season two will absolutely benefit from us knowing who Dunk is, knowing who Egg is, and moving forward.
I will say it's refreshing to watch a Game of Thrones show and have somebody that you can root for. Because the original Game of Thrones, everybody was kind of an asshole. I
Yeah,
mean, Tyrion, even Jon Snow to a point. Like everybody had these wonky kind of personality traits
but they
where
were all
it's
real
like,
though. They were in my they felt real because they had their positives and then they had
yeah,
their negatives. So they felt like more of real type people, which made it, I think, more enjoyable.
maybe it was a strength.
Yeah.
But that is, except Bran. I think even Bran had a personality quirk as far as just being. I mean, towards the end, he was just like Bran dialogue was just like talking to a brick wall or something. Like I don't know if that was the actor's choice or the character's choice, but Bran had an interesting story that maybe didn't play out as interestingly as they'd hoped, in my opinion, anyway. But this is a simpler story. This is like we have a good guy in Dunk, and the
Yeah.
world around him is not quite as good as he is, and so he's kind of like facing the world around him, where it's more the characters themselves than the plot itself is more simplistic, and I don't think it's to its detriment. I think that's actually a strength for this show, in my opinion.
Okay. I mean, like I said, I had a hard time the first couple episodes, then I was really getting on board the next few. This one
Yeah.
here kind of almost reversed me back to how I felt at the beginning. So I'm holding on. I want to see how they land this ship
Yeah.
because uh with the preview, like if you guys haven't seen the preview yet, I'm gonna give this a little bit away. Dunk says he doesn't want to be with anybody besides. I'm sorry, Egwin doesn't want to be with anyone besides Dunk,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Dunk says he's done with princes.
Right.
So it's kind of like, where do we? How do they move on? See, with only one episode left, how do they give us the mending of that relationship so we can move forward?
Right. I don't know. I mean, we know they will somehow. That's the
Yeah.
fun of seeing how they move forward from this. That's what I want to see. I mean, I guess that's usually why they structure these things where the penultimate episode is usually the one that has the high action. And even though this one was mostly a flashback, we do get the repercussions, right? Where it's like by the end of this thing, you're like, oh God, where do we go from here? Because it's like Baylor just had his head
Mhm.
caved in. Dunk, yeah, he's alive and he went through this trial, but it's like, is he going to have enemies in the kingdom
Mhm.
now? Like, how pissed is the king himself going to be? Or the son Arian, like, what's his going to be? What's his follow up going to be? And Egg and his relationship with the rest of his family and stuff. So MGH 86, got to go. Have a good night. Dinner is ready. I hope you have a wonderful dinner,
Yeah. Thanks for
MGH.
stopping. Thanks for commenting, man. This show is so
Yeah,
much better when you guys actually leave some comments and give us a different dynamic for the show. Sean and I can bounce back and forth, but it can get flat at times.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I don't know if there's the flashback. Was there any part of the flashback you did enjoy, or were we just taken out of it the whole
I mean, I
time?
guess seeing a little bit of the first battle of Blackwater is where they found when we first seen him when he finds that, I guess, at night, or the guy that was under the horse that he was going to go ahead and
Yeah,
kill.
that was
Uh,
yeah.
he was going to basically a mercy kill, and then the girl was like, "No, we're going to hold him for ransom," and he still goes down.
I
Uh,
thought that acting job of the guy who was dying underneath the horse. I mean, that was like real. That seemed legit. For a second, I was like, "Is that guy literally dying?" Like,
is
just
he
his
is he
eyes
really
were
going down?
his eyes were rolling back in the head, and he was just like gasping for breath. And it was just like it was pretty intense. But well
Yeah,
done for that bit part.
that was good. Um, but really, that's really the extent of it. Like, I didn't need the bullying case, or them to taking the knife, or taking the wine pouch, or any of that. I would rather just a little bit more time, with the current circumstances.
Yeah. I did like seeing how Dunk met, and I keep forgetting his.
Oh,
Dunk would be mad at me for forgetting his knight's name. He's trying to make the kingdom, the realm, remember this guy's name, and I can't do it myself.
something little bottom lot.
Little bottom.
Let him little bottom, little bottom, big front. I'm sorry, I was there. I had to go for
Yeah, King Dingaling.
it.
Oh my
Oh, a bad boy
gosh.
reference. I love it.
I don't know the knight's name, but I thought it was an interesting scene to see how those two got together. But like I said, that whole middle section of this episode could have been earlier, could have been episodes ago.
We could have got that episode, maybe, yeah, episode 2, because
Yeah,
he went ahead and he buried him in episode 1. We could have got the relationship between him in episode 2, and they could have kind of moved forward from there, and maybe given us the relationship with him and the girl somewhere else within
yeah.
the season, and then have to give it to us all at once. But
And it would have given you more context into why he was like so why he was so willing to help this girl out this time around. You
something
know,
just dawned on me:
what's that?
the vision. Remember the vision that or the
Egg's older
dream,
brother gave? Yeah,
about being over a dead dragon.
right.
He's holding Balon. He's over top a dead
Yeah,
dragon. Not the one we thought it was going to wind up being, but it
right,
was one of
right.
the ones that was there.
That's true.
It could have been Aegon, and it wasn't. It could have been his brother, or Makar, but it was actually Balon, and not the one. Yeah, the whole that was a twist, and like I said, it just dawned on me that's who it was.
Is it Maekar. I thought he was the king. Is Maekar not the king?
I think Maekar is the king. Yeah.
On here it says Prince Maekar Targaryen. But isn't that weird for the king himself to fight in a thing like this? Is that weird?
Yeah, but he had the King's Guard with him, so there was
Yeah.
really no danger for him at all. It was more
Yeah.
of a sport, to be out there.
Hmm. Well, anyway.
And if we're wrong, let us
Let us
know.
know. Let us know in the
You
comments
guys have
how
no
wrong we
problem letting
are.
us know when we're wrong.
I don't know if there's much more to say about this episode. We'll be back next week to talk about episode 6. Turns out that's the finale of Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And hopefully we'll get a season 2 of this thing before another 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, actually, no. I
Uh,
read something today that season 2 has been greenlit and it's expected to be out next year.
Perfect. Thank you. That's what I want as a
Yeah.
TV viewer.
And I
Thank you very
think they
much.
said the reason it would being that it would be back next year is because of it being shorter episodes, shorter
Hmm.
season. It makes it easier for them to get it out quicker rather
Lower
than
budget.
hour-long episodes. Yeah, lower budget, the works. So it's one of those ones they can push out a lot quicker than it would be normally.
Especially if you got one of your main characters like a child, like try to
You
pop
got to
these
do it
things out
quick.
before that child is not a child anymore.
Oh yeah, yeah. He won't be bald anymore. He'll have a mustache.
He'd be bald with a goatee, smoking a cigarette. Hey, I got your back, Dunk. Oh my god. Anyway,
Yep,
um,
nope. That's. I think that's pretty much a good spot for us to end.
that's this week. Come and join us again next week for a live discussion about Game of Thrones and Night of the Seven Kingdoms.
You still don't know the name of the
Um,
show.
yeah, that doesn't roll off the tongue. I tell you.
Uh,
What else? Anything else before we head out?
oh no, you pick your leaves carefully when you're wiping your ass.
Good advice.